You're watching Capital City Sunday.
After years of trying, lawmakers got a bill through the state legislature that requires Asian American and Hmong American history to be taught in Wisconsin public schools. It's a meaningful move for many people, including our state's first Asian American Teacher of the Year. Darielle Fair sat down with him to talk about how this bill is likely to increase representation for students across the state.
I'm here now with Kabby Hong. He is a teacher in the Verona Area School District and the first Asian American Teacher of the Year here in Wisconsin. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure being here.
Thank you. Okay, and so we'll start off with we'll just jump right into it, right? So this bill is set to amend Wisconsin's current statute to implement the teaching of Asian American and Hmong American history in public schools across the state. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. To me, this bill is about pride and belonging. And for too long, our Asian American students have been invisible in our school curriculums. And what this bill will do is basically allow us to be visible and to have a sense of pride and to feel like we belong in this country. And while this bill is incredibly important for our Asian American students, it's equally important for our non-Asian American students to build bridges of empathy and understanding to those that look different than them, and to understand that this country is made up of incredible contributions from all different groups.
And so we know lawmakers have been working to push similar bills forward since 2005. Can you talk about how it feels now to know that this bill is moving forward to Governor Evers' desk?
It's just an incredible accomplishment. And it really kind of shows the bipartisan broad coalition of people that came together to really advocate for this bill. It wasn't just one group that advocated. It was literally groups from all across the state, teachers, non-teachers, Republicans and Democrats who advocated and really pushed this bill forward. So it was incredibly gratifying to see that this bill has finally made it and will be signed by Governor Evers.
As you just stated, Governor Evers is likely to sign off on this proposal. Do you think that the passage of this legislation adds to a broader conversation of the importance of highlighting the Asian American community and its contributions to American history?
Absolutely. American history is kind of like a book. And for too long, chapters have been missing in that book. And those chapters are really about the contributions of Asian Americans. You know, when I look back at my own schooling, I am ignorant about my own history in this country. And so what I really hope for in this bill is that future generations will not have to wonder about their identity or wonder whether people that look like them contributed to this great country. They will know it by the time they graduate.
And so also, can you talk a little bit about the efforts that went into getting this bill through the legislature and the role that you had to play in doing that?
Well, I played a small role, and my goal was really to kind of spur activism among my young students. So I'm a club advisor for the Asian Student Association of Verona Area High School, and I was happy to bring my students to testify at the public hearing at the Assembly. And they were excited about the opportunity. They were a little intimidated speaking in front of lawmakers, but it was a wonderful experience for them, as well as just understanding that it's important for young people to be involved in this whole process.
And how do you think that plays into representation for them?
Well, I think it's enormous. I think for so many young people, you're trying to find who you are, just generally. And I think layering on their Asian American identity is also a critical part of it. And many of them talk about how they never see themselves in their school curriculum. And I think being a part of a bill that hopefully alleviates that issue for future generations, I think is incredibly empowering for my students.
And so we know that diversity, equity, and inclusion has been a hot button issue here in Wisconsin. Republican lawmakers and the universities of Wisconsin coming to terms on a deal that would eliminate half of the DEI programming and staffing on UW campuses. So do you think this sends mixed messaging on the conversation around inclusivity? And then also, how do you think that this impacts ultimately the teaching of diverse concepts like Asian American history in higher education?
Well, I think it's critical that we teach truthful history and what happened in our country as well, and to also understand that we build and strengthen our bonds as a country when all identities are represented in our school curriculum. and to understand that the contributions that are made from various groups, not just one group, I think empowers all people. And that's one of the things I love about teaching in a public school, is that you get people from various backgrounds, various identities, and to be able to understand that we are all part of this great, American society, I think is something that we can all get behind.
And then the last question would just be, what are your hopes going forward to now know that you'll have this curriculum in your classrooms for your students?
Well, I think the law was a huge step, but I think the next big step is going to be about curriculum development, professional development with teachers, and really making this law live and breathe in Wisconsin classrooms. And I think that's going to be the next great challenge for this law.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time, Kabby Hong. It was so great having you today.
It's a pleasure being here.